So one of the How to Train Dragon's biggest controversies is coming from Asteroid being changed to this Nico Parker person. Okay, basically, Nico Parker talks with her father Joe Pedro. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I thought they were actually related, but that was in the Last of Us Part One. Okay, did anyone even watch that Last of Us show? I'm just wondering, but can't wait till Last of Us Part 2, and then everybody hates the second season of The Last of Us because of Abby. Oh yes, we're gonna have to hear about Abby again. Responding to the Deluge puts back into resistance race slash Astrid. How Trey Jacken, Dean producers argue this it doesn't matter about the physical appearance matches the animated depiction. Again, why are we having a live action Howard Trey Jacken in the first place? Who asked for a Howard Trey Jacken live action version? Like, we could have just kept the series. Like, I just don't want to. This is because of Hollywood's greed. Okay, Hollywood's greed is ultimately going to be their downfall. Okay, because why are we getting a live action version of How to Train Your Dragon? Okay, a software shot remake of the original film, making her franchise debut in the animated trilogy rather than Carasia Carol's original UA novel. Astrid is depicted as a typical Scandinavian woman, you know, basically. And of course, Hollywood does Hollywood things, and it's gonna be the Little Mermaid all over again. And in the trailer, they actually hid Astrid pretty well. She wasn't in very much in the, you know, trailer. And it's just I don't understand why Hollywood is just obsessed with, changing the race of characters. I really don't get it. Okay, like and then they'll complain if they make an Asian character white and call it whitewashing. But then they'll change, white characters black. Like, what about blackwashing? That's another problem. But Hollywood is obsessed with that. I don't get it. But hopefully, people finally wake up and realize these live action remakes, Disney or non Disney, don't need to exist and don't watch this movie in droves. But again, we shouldn't be too surprised if normies go see this movie because even then, the Lion King remake 2 or the Mufasa prequels is still expected to open to $60 million, which is still $60 million too much, okay, in my opinion. Okay, but again, this is again the biggest controversy the movie has had so far, okay, and it's just I don't understand why Hollywood just has to remake everything. Okay, like How to Train Your Dragon did not need a live action version. It did not need a live action version at all. It was perfect the way it was as an animated trilogy. Okay, yeah, basically there's the Last of Us. So I just wondered, did anyone actually watch that show? I'm just wondering at that here. And yeah, this is the how it worked in the original animated show. Okay, we're still crafting a fantasy, not historical fact. Okay, yeah, this is this. I hope that this live action, but again, I want the live action Lion King to make the flop, and I didn't get that. So but I think people are finally starting to wake up to these live action remakes. Like the Little Mermaid flopped mostly because of the backlash the movie got, and I think if there wasn't any backlash to the Little Mermaid remake at all, the movie would have broken records, quote unquote, and Disney would have had a hugely successful movie on their hands. But yeah, it's just why do we need to retell How to Train Your Dragon in live action? I just don't understand. Like these live action remakes are very forgettable. They become forgotten right away. Okay, say for that Avatar the live action show. Okay, no one watched that live action Avatar show. No one cared, and everyone forgot about it. Okay, why can't you just make a new story instead of having a story that already exists and changing it to fit an agenda? Okay, I just don't get. But it's just say for the Little Mermaid, they could have easily made a Little Mermaid story. Oh wait, not a Little Mermaid story. A mermaid story about mermaids, but it's based out of African culture. Okay, it could have been that hard. Okay, to make a mermaid story based off of African culture. Okay, if they really want to represent African culture that much, they could have made a story about dragons in Africa. Like, what about dragons in Ethiopia? Like, Ethiopia is pretty mountainous, so that's a pretty decent area where dragons could live. Or in the Sahara Desert or the Sahel, because it's pretty warm in those areas. Or it could be, Namibia, because I think everybody the visuals in Mad Max were pretty good in the Mad Max Fury Road, and that's mostly because in the Namibian desert, there's just so much potential for story ideas, and they just want to just retell the same stories over and over again. Again, that one guy was pretty much correct when it comes to Hollywood nowadays. We're in easily the worst era of all of Hollywood. Okay, like why do we need to retell animated stories into live action? Okay, it's just I'm so sick of Hollywood in general disrespecting animation as a art form and as a medium. Okay, and treating it like it's some type of joke. Japan doesn't. Okay, China doesn't. Korea doesn't. Asia doesn't. Only the West does. And we need to stop with this whole idea that animation is for kids and stop treating animation like it's this joke medium. Okay, yes, we can have our minions, we can have our Despicable Me's. Okay, but we should have more serious animated movies with more serious tones. Heck, even in a PG story, you can still tell an animated story with more serious tones. It won't be as serious as, for example, an R-rated movie, obviously. But really, the only thing you really add into it is like blood and gore and swearing. You can still have an animated story with a serious tone in a PG story setting. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish did that perfectly. Kids and adults can both like that movie because that movie is a very serious movie. Okay? It is not a movie just for kids. Minions, it's a comedy. It's not supposed to be serious. Okay? That makes sense. It's a comedy. Okay? It's not supposed to be taken seriously. It's supposed to be funny. Okay? But the problem with animation is a lot of animation is viewed as a kid's medium. It's not taken seriously. DreamWorks kind of does sometimes take animation seriously, like a Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. But the problem with DreamWorks is they're very inconsistent with their animated movies. And that's just a fact. Look at the 2023 slate of DreamWorks animated movies. Like, yes, I did, and even this year, I did have fun watching Kung Fu Panda 4, but it wasn't as great as the first three Kung Fu Panda movies. It was still a funny movie, not gonna lie, I laughed at a lot of the scenes in the movie. Like, it was still pretty funny. Okay, like the fact that they made fun of the chameleon character for being short, and that's the reason why she couldn't be like that was actually kind of like comical. Like, you're short, you can't be a real fighter. And then you have the previous three movies where you have a little like praying mantis as one of the Furious Five, which I find pretty funny that they were making fun of the chameleon. Okay, the whole time. Or some of the scenes, like the bow scene, was pretty funny in Kung Fu Panda 4. Like, there was some pretty funny. And of course, the antics with, both of, Poe's Dr. Father and, of course, Poe's real father. And going around that was like the scrap parts of the Ice Age movie. It was like the funniest parts of the movie as well. Okay, but yeah. Overall, I just don't understand why we have to have all these live action remakes. And I think we'll go eventually to a point where these just don't make money. Look at Snow White. That movie's gonna flop hugely. And I wouldn't be surprised if this flops hugely as well. And 2025 might look like to be another pretty bad year for the box office. Outside of Jurassic Park, which I think that movie will make money either way. Okay, because of course people like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are fun. But other than that, I just don't see very much of successful movies out of 2025. 2025 looks to be another pretty bad year for Hollywood. And if Hollywood wants to get off this rut, Hollywood needs to take my advice, which they probably won't, and needs to have movies that are not woke, that won't have any controversy, which is going to be pretty hard to avoid because, of course, you're never going to avoid controversy. It's just how it is, but avoid controversy and also try to actually make the fans happy for once. I know it's gonna be pretty hard, but like for example, Sonic movies, okay, and the Mario movie, okay, Hollywood, the creators of those movies have done the most to please the fans of those two IPs. I think Hollywood needs to learn from those two movies especially and see what they're going forward. Okay, say for Godzilla, okay, you may like or dislike the Godzilla MonsterVerse movies, but hey, those movies do a pretty darn good job at making Godzilla fans happy with those movies as well. So yeah, that's what this video here. Goodbye.